the hateful rhetoric. Even the Week, which isn't really all that far left, the Week's got one of their writers talking about this, blaming the rhetoric. Salon, which is possibly one of the most unhinged sites known to mankind, got tons of stuff like that.
And you know what? It's funny. They blame the rhetoric, yet one person on the right tries to blame Islam for the rise of a radical element within it. And of course, everyone's saying you're a bigot, you're a racist, and the names and the ad hominem attacks start flying. And this is a perfect example of hypocrisy, because now the shoe's on the other foot, and it's the entire movement that's wrong. And you're going to lump in even the more moderate people. There is such a thing as peaceful pro-life. I mean, come on already. It's the worst example, and probably the most blatant example, of hypocrisy that came out in the last news cycle.
Well, and not only that, the officer who was killed.
Yes.
Pro-life. They don't want to talk about that. It's a pretty easy call to say shooting people, particularly shooting innocent people, is not pro-life. I'm not really sure how the media don't get that. That pro-life people are opposed to that, and that some whack job, you can look at his photo. It's interesting. CNN had on, I can't remember her name, a commentator who goes on to talk about, she's a criminal commentator, talk about crime and investigations and stuff like that. And they immediately turned the segment. She said she wouldn't talk specifically about individual criminals. She blames the media for hyping their crimes and says that's the reason why they do this. That's why we have such a rise in these kind of criminals, because of media. They violated what she agreed to do. She calls them on it, and then they deny it. They said, well, we didn't actually talk about the individual criminal. That's what they spent the whole segment trying to do, including the little chyron, the words in front of the speakers appearing on there with the guy's name, specifically the thing she was guaranteed they wouldn't do.
Unbelievable. But that's what you expect from, the Communist News Network. Let's transition real quick, because, of course, the global warming conference, the global cooling conference, the climate change conference was also big in the news cycle this week. I don't know what they call it anymore. They're going to come up with another neutral name to, again, change the theory as to what they're actually trying to prove that is actually impossible, but whatever. How was media coverage of climate change this week?
Oh, it's so over the top, so ridiculous. You would act like, I feel like I'm watching news coverage from the movie Armageddon, where you're like, oh, the meteor's only 6 days away from us. Run, hide. You can't hide from it. It's destruction. Network spent 15 minutes the first night. ABC, CBS, and NBC, even 15 minutes. CBS did it again tonight. Huge piece. They only show the stuff they agree with. So they go to countries. Oh, see, this country's doing this. They went to Norway and showing how they're using electric cars. They don't talk, of course, about how these countries get their electric power. The United States gets about a third of its power from coal, which the left is at war with. In fact, the left and the media hate 90% of the kind of energy we get and we use. They have these fantasies that we're somehow going to turn around and take solar and wind and ramp them up, even though we don't have the battery capacity, even though, guess what? Wind stops and the sun goes down at night. What are we supposed to use for power then? We're supposed to live in caves? They cost millions of lives in the rest of the world every year by advocating against reliable electric power. And the media, they don't ever want to talk about the reality of what they're pushing for. Instead, we just get full-on propaganda. Oh, my God, the world, this will save the world. Forget that Obama can't even legally agree to what he's trying to agree to. Because we have law, Constitution mandates certain things about treaties. They just want to force everything.
Let me tell you, that pesky Constitution gets in the way all the time, man. I don't know what we would do. We gotta get rid of that thing just to let Obama do what he needs to do, right? Here we go again.
You sound like Ezra Klein.
There you go. But here we go again. International pressure on domestic policy is being more respected than the average American on the ground that has to earn a daily wage from these industries that are being threatened. Why does the media always side with pressure outside of America rather than getting behind stories about how the American worker is being hurt?
Well, I think at the basic level, the left and the media don't love America that much. They don't believe America does that many good things, and when it does, it's only when it's doing left-wing things. So, when it agrees to what Europe does. They don't ever talk to you about how Europe has vastly more restrictive abortion policies, for instance. They don't talk about that. Because that would, that's the area where the Americans are right. So it's basically, there's no standard. It's whatever the left thinks is right, the media agree with, and that's the standard. And so, okay, you've got a job, you live in Appalachia, you live in West Virginia or Tennessee, or maybe even Wyoming, some place you mine coal. Oh, well, you don't care. You don't matter because you're white. Oh, well, the media don't care about that. They got little check boxes. What do they care about? The front page of the style section, Washington Post today, had a story on an actress who is transgender and a former sex worker. So, that's, multiple check boxes there. You got, what race, what, LGBT, transgender, okay, former sex worker, yeah. Oh, you're a white actress? They don't care. Unless you're liberal. Then if you're Amy Schumer, they love you because you're not funny. You're simply out there to be a left-wing provocateur. So, that's their position. Anything they agree with is great. If you're a proponent of their position, you're wonderful. If you're an opponent, you're evil.
Well, let's talk about some of those evil opponents. Who is currently public enemy number one when it comes to the lamestream media? Who's been the biggest target that you've seen recently?
Well, I think certainly they want to take down Trump. But that's very obvious that they want to take down Trump. But they aren't stupid. They're liberals and nutty, but they're not stupid. So right after Trump, they are afraid that the inheritor of Trump's votes and the more likely candidate, if Trump leaves the race, is Cruz. So it's sort of like a 1-2 punch. I think that's who they want to go after.
Well, there you go. And that's a great rundown of and this is just a small sample of the hypocrisy out there. We didn't mention the New York Times. We didn't mention Matt Lauer. We have mentioned a whole host of other issues. Unfortunately, it's only such a short segment. But all that can be covered and can be read by our audience at newsbusters.org. Why don't you tell everybody about the website there, pal?
Oh, well, that's our very popular website. I know that because Drudge links to it a ton and lots of other people do. And it's an intersection of all things media and media bias. So it's both news and entertainment.
Absolutely. I check it every day. And that's not just a put on for the segment. I literally, it's on my morning read every morning to go to newsbusters.org, check out what's going on, get a little upset, and then get motivated to get on with the rest of my day. Dan, thanks for coming on the show. We'll talk to you again in the new year, and we'll see what the new year brings as far as the continuing battle against conservatives in the media.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, folks, that was our friend Dan Gaynor, Media Research Center, and Newsbusters, talking about liberal hypocrisy behind enemy headlines. Time for some final thoughts, folks. I'm going to turn a little personal to the show and talk about a little policy. I want to first thank our new sponsor, Liberty Health Share, for coming on board the Behind Enemy Lines family. Guys, Liberty Health Share is something we all need to check out. Go to joinlhs.org to learn more about an exciting way to efficiently and effectively manage your own health care instead of farming out your brain to a third party. It's important stuff, and here's why it's important stuff. Those of you who remember in the People's Republic of New York City, the touting of Health Republic, a cooperative, nonprofit alternative to insurance. Well, if you don't remember it, take a listen to this. This is back in June of 2014, when everyone was touting it when the state exchanges came out. And then we're going to talk about what has happened to Health Republic since.
About 1 in 5 New Yorkers getting private insurance through the state's health exchange enrolled with a startup company. According to newly released figures from the state, in its first year of existence, Health Republic has enrolled 70,000 people, giving it the highest market share in the state exchange.
And then this happened this month.
Health Republic customers in New York will be covered only until the end of this month, but many are reporting difficulty moving on. For example, they say they can't get termination letters from Health Republic, documents they need to enroll with the new insurer. Health Republic is one of 23 federally designated health co-ops. It was popular because rates were so low, but that's also why it failed. Customer payments have not kept up with insurance claims. In order to maintain coverage, customers have 10 days to lock in a new plan.
And those clips were courtesy of WNYC here in the People's Republic of New York City. Guys, it's a failure. It's official right now. These nonprofit state co-ops don't work. Why? Because they tried to undercut the market. They became insolvent. There's no money there. That's why companies like Liberty Health Share, privately held self-pay patient programs, are the wave of the future. It's a movement, folks, and I think we all need to get on it. I want to thank Liberty Health Share. You're going to be hearing a lot from them in the coming weeks and months to come. They're going to become a fixture on the show, and we're happy to be on board with them. Heck, I'm even considering signing up myself. But more on that in other shows. Any other final thought here? Someone in the chat room just mentioned that this is today, that as we're taping this, and this week is the anniversary of what Rosa Parks did. A great American story. If you don't know it by now, come on, folks. You're better than that. It's a time we should acknowledge women's rights, equal rights, and wow. Have we come far enough? Think about it. We're still identifying ourselves racially more so than we are nationally or any other way, religiously, culturally, what have you. Yes, we've come a long way. We have a longer way to go. Maybe we should take today and remind ourselves that, yes, civil rights has come a long way, but there's still much more to do, much more to go. I mean, if you want to talk about glass ceilings, I don't tend to talk about things like that. I tend to talk about the feeling and moods of people. And if the Black Lives Matter movement is any indication, and if the pandering of the left towards that movement is any indication, we have a long way to go. That'll about do it for us, folks. Oh, wait, one last thing. Happy birthday to our contributor, friend, cohort, partner in crime, Politichick Mona Salama. Hope you enjoy your day. I'm not going to say how old you are on air. We're going to keep that a secret. But we hope you enjoy your day and you have a pleasant time, have a pleasant celebration. Enjoy yourself, live it up. And we will talk to you soon on air, in person, and have a lot more fun as time goes on. And we're going to have a lot of fun, folks, because of this Buffoon of the Year competition. This is my favorite one ever. Absolutely great bracket. Thank you, Matt Fairley, for helping me set this up. But for now, it's time for the fun to die down a little bit. Voting starts tomorrow, which for those of you listening on podcast, is Wednesday, December 2nd. You're going to have a week to vote for Buffoon of the Year, the Salacious 16 edition, and then we'll start whittling it down in the weeks to come. But for now, folks, from the People's Republic of New York City, Gene Baradelli behind enemy lines. I'm out of here. Good night, folks. Our position has been compromised. It's time to roll out. Report for debriefing at www.behindenemylinesradio.us and look for regular communications via Facebook and Twitter at BEL_radio. You are the resistance. Behind Enemy Lines. Part of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. A rock radio production. Copyright 2015. Back in 7 days. Out.